What's up, folks? All right. Get some creativity going on here. Sign in. Let me know where you're watching from. Good people. So let's see here. It's harder than it looks. What's up, Daily? All right. So the key to it is looping in the right place. I ain't done this in a minute. All right, so using this microphone with this Jermaine stereo looper. So I gotta do it again. What's going on now? My bass is louder than my microphone. So yeah, let's try this again. That's what it's about, guys. Trial and error. All right. Appreciate that, man. Y'all can sign in and let me know where you're watching from. Jamaica, what's up, man? Thank you. Bless you too, man. What's up, Tyrone? Now, I haven't mastered the fretless yet. Alright, so let's try the fretless on this groove. As most of you know, if you watch my most recent video, I'm struggling on fretless, so let's see what we got. Appreciate it, man. All right, let's see here. Let's do that fretless. Yeah, the fretless sound in a mess. What's up, Ken? That's how you know your sound is right on your music when your facial expression look like you smell something. Yeah, I'm trying to get through this fretless. The cool thing, well, I ain't gonna say the cool thing. The funny thing about this fretless, the biggest thing, how it's so different from just, if some of you guys have never played fretless before, I'm assuming that most of you haven't. But yeah, like where you place your hands concerning like the frets is so much different in a sense from where they would normally be. Because normally we would be right here, like we were in the key of E. But sometimes that can vary. Because if you move just a little bit, you're out of tune. I'm all within that same fret space of E. You hear that? The slightest little movement throws you out of tune. So working on that perfect intonation, I guess. As you can clearly hear, I don't have it down pat. I literally feel like a beginner bass player playing this bass. Let's see here. So I'm gonna give y'all a little secret that I did with this particular bass. I reviewed this bass a few days ago on my channel, and one of the things I said, it didn't have any fret markers. So what I did, my cheat code that I did for learning, is I edged in some marks on the neck. If you could see that, I edged in some marks on the neck to just show me kind of where the note is perfectly in tune. That makes it a little bit more understandable, not necessarily easy. It's still like a challenge getting used to playing this versus playing the fretted bass, because you still have to land everything right there on the note, but it gives me a better kind of guideline of where I am in relation to the fretboard, and making sure that I'm kind of more in tune. Like I'm a little better in the vicinity of being in tune than just kind of thinking I'm in tune and way out of tune. So that's just a little thing that you can do with this bass. Again, I reviewed it the other day. I did lower the strings some more, And it's feeling a lot better now that I lowered the strings down a little bit more. You got to watch it though, because once you get down, you can hear there, it starts bottoming out a little bit. It might be a hair too low. I might have to raise it up a little bit. But truth be told, I'm probably not gonna go past this fret. But I think the biggest thing that this bass needs to do is just kind of get broke in for the most part. It needs playing a lot and just kind of weathering somewhat, you know. Needs some age on it, playing and a little bit of age, and that always does the trick for new basses, especially basses that are not that expensive. Just a little wear and tear, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. Good morning, Vic. Good morning to you. So yeah, man, Dimitri, I appreciate that. I'm trying. Good morning, Mike. London, enjoying the groove, looking forward to the pearls of the bass and life and wisdom, man. To God be the glory, dude. I hope I'm able to give you guys something this morning. So yeah. So if you're trying the fretless bass, check my previous video. I didn't get on here with the intentions of playing this fretless this morning at all, but since we're here, you know, yeah, this is it's a great way to kind of get into it. Very yeah, it sounds cool, man. This bass is literally under $90. Probably with shipping and handling and taxes and all that kind of stuff, it'll come to about 100. But yeah, just if you're trying to get into fretless bass and understanding it, this is a cool way to just kind of stick your foot in the water to just see if you like it. You know, you get the more the vocal effect with the fretless. See what we got here. You have more of a walking bass type thing, pulling that tone out. So some of you guys are used to, of course, hearing that Jocko sound with this bass, and you won't get as much of that Jocko sound out of this bass because the pickup combination is different. This is the P bass, which you're going to be more, you know, low end, heavy, and just a little bit of tone. Whereas if we had that bridge pickup with a jazz bass back here, you could get a little bit more of that mid-range tone. We can still fake it. Just by hand placement. But it's its own distinct sound. That P bass is going to give you its own distinct sound. So it's still a challenge getting comfortable with it. Like I'll show you in relation to where the dot is and where my finger is. Look at this. pitch, that's flat. You see that? So that's the thing that sets it apart. Whereas, you know, with the fretted bass, you would be here and you would be good. But with this one, it's like you got to go a little past to be in tune. And that's the harder, I ain't gonna say the hardest thing, but it's a little harder for me getting comfortable, getting used to it. Now I will say I sound a lot better than I did the day I picked it up. I sounded a mess. If I had pulled the camera out the first day that I initially started to fool with it, if I pulled the camera out that day, man, y'all was been like, all right, unsubscribe, because I sounded a mess. Because even in that, I got to go a little past where I would normally go for that. And really, a lot of it with this particular bass is a lot more on feel and sound than, I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but for me, it feels like it's more on like really paying attention to my ears and really trusting my ears as opposed to my hand position. The other thing is different is the fret spacing is different from what I'm used to. I'm used to shorter throughout the neck, shorter space in between the frets, and I got to spread a little wider for these particular fret spacings. When I get down here, it's a little tighter, but of course up here it's a little bit more different than what I'm used to. So I'm having to do a lot of jumping. Like right there, I shouldn't have to be way down there for that octave C. I should be here, but it's different. That's enough of that. That's all I can stand. So how's everybody feeling this morning? Hopefully everybody is well, having a great week, enjoying this bipolar weather we got going on. The weather's changing. It doesn't know if it want to be hot or cold, but thank God for the weather either way. All right, so yeah, for somebody was saying they like that track, I made that like as soon as we got on here this morning. Now the fretless have messed me up. Now I'm trying to think too much. All right, so I'm trying to play like I was playing on the fretless, and now I gotta get my brain back together now. All right, I missed some comments here. What's up, Christian? So Demetrius says, "Will that be a backing track you release to us?" Man, I literally just made that on the loop pedal, so I would have to redo it. I would have to redo it in the recording software because this is like on the loop pedal right now. That might be a song, Doc. I don't know yet. I might like it too much. Just hold tight. So yeah, because that's funny, man. Most of my songs I write, not lately, but most of the songs, especially from the live album, they start just like that. Me just kind of having fun, playing around, practicing with this looper, and I come up with an idea, and it kind of sticks. And some of these ideas came when some of you guys don't know this, but I speak. I travel and I speak um, at different places, mainly like schools and that kind of thing. But a lot of times I'll create a groove or something like that on the spot. And so when I create something, it's like, that's kind of sticking. So I might take that and when I get home, start developing that. What recording software do you use or recommend? I use Logic, man. Logic Pro. If you have a Mac computer, it's just to me it's just more user friendly. I have used Studio One. Studio One is cool. It really it depends on the person. For me personally, I got introduced to Logic. What this was way before Studio One. I even knew anything about Studio One. I was using Pro Tools, and for the way that I create music, Logic was better for the way that I created music because Logic, the playback engine issues I was having with Pro Tools and all that kind of stuff. Uh, the issues I was having with Pro Tools, you get to creating something, and if you start using a lot of virtual instruments, it'll start stopping or crashing and that kind of thing. That got old in the creative process, but Logic, I like it. It's more user friendly as it relates to using like a lot of samples that I do, or using virtual instruments. Virtual instruments basically means you're using a MIDI, something MIDI like a keyboard to trigger other sounds on the computer. And so when I'm doing that, it's not stopping and getting stuck and that kind of stuff like it would as much as it would in Pro Tools. So Logic just as an overall work station for me, Logic just works better for me personally. I worked on several. I started out with man, this was a cool edit like years ago. I think it's Adobe Audition now, but back in the day it was Cool Edit Pro, and that's what I started with. And so Logic to me when it came out looked a lot like Cool Edit, what I started with. So I wasn't used to the look of Pro Tools, but Logic felt a lot more like Adobe Audition to me. So it was an easy swap for me. When I got the Logic, it's like, yeah, I'm good. No turning back. And then I don't want to call myself lazy, but I don't like learning curves. So when I did get Studio One was very user friendly, but just my workflow, felt like I was having to learn stuff over again, and I was in the middle of trying to create stuff. So I think I just naturally gravitated back to Logic because it's just for me, I'm more comfortable on Logic, and I don't once I find something I like, I find something that works. I don't really like to change it. I will adjust if I have to adjust, but when I find something that works for me, I kind of tend to stay with it. So yeah, all that being said, yeah, Logic. Dimitri said you was talking about the track. Uh, oh yeah, I got you, man. I got you when you said that the backing track. I don't know if I release it as a backing track. What about for PC? PC. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I don't even know if they're still doing Cubase. What's up, Kelvin? So for PC, man, you can go Pro Tools if you want to go Pro Tools. It really depends on how you record. Most everybody now is doing a lot of virtual stuff. The thing I don't like about Pro Tools is I think it's now subscription based. Like me, I don't want to keep when it comes to the recording software, I don't want to keep having to pay for that kind of stuff. I just want to, pay for it and get it over with, and just record. I don't want to have to keep feeling like I'm paying for it every whatever. But some people are cool with that. The plus side of that is you continue to get the updates. And I think a lot of companies are moving over to that to stay relevant. But they can continuously send you the updates. So it's a lot of pros and cons to it. But for PC, I can't honestly say, man, because I haven't been on a PC in a minute. I know Pro Tools is pretty much either PC or Mac. Pro Tools is like the standard for most people. But Studio One, I would say, gonna probably be the closest to Logic if you're trying to go PC. And I think Studio One goes either or because it's not. I don't think it's preference for Mac or PC. So PreSonus makes Studio One, and the cool thing about Studio One, it comes with any piece of recording gear that you buy from PreSonus. Like if you get here, I have this Studio Live right here. So if you get that Studio Live, or here I got another interface. Sorry about that. A recording interface, Fire Studio Project by PreSonus. If you get either one of those, hardware devices, they generally come with some edition of Studio One. So a lot of times that is going to determine whatever hardware device you get, like as far as your recording interface, it's going to come with some type of recording software 9 times out of 10. And if you get anything from PreSonus, it's going to come more than likely with Studio One. So Studio One is a cool one. Like I hear a lot of good things about Studio One, and I've used it before. Again, I don't like learning curve because I'm comfortable. So yeah, that would be my other recommendation, Vic, is to go Studio One, because those are the ones I have experience with, Studio One or Logic. So PC, Studio One, or Pro Tools. I ain't got nothing against Pro Tools, but yeah, they ain't my cup of tea. Brazil, what's going on? So yeah, so I put a topic up today. The name of the topic is I think I call it success. Your success is on you, something like that. Let me say, I always have to go back and look at my titles that I put because I forget. So yeah, your success is on you. So talking about that title, I get a lot of being a content creator. I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of comments from different people that watch the videos. And one of the common threads, not with a lot of people, some people are genuine in terms of, they mean well when they offer certain comments and that kind of thing. So they don't mean any harm by the things they say when they offer suggestions. And I'm not against that at all. But one of the things I do notice, every now and again, I get people who basically give me suggestions, and they are basically telling me things I can do to help them better do what they do. And in a sense, it's like they're getting better on me instead of taking responsibility for themselves to grow. Well, if you would do this in the video, or if you would do that, or if you would add this or add that, it would make it a lot easier for us. And for me, again, creating videos on YouTube, I do that because I definitely want to share the information that I have, and I want to help make it easier for people who, maybe coming up like me and didn't have access to information, or you might not be around anybody, or some of the other educators here on YouTube the way that they teach, it doesn't resonate with you. I know there's a lot of people out there, they get it from the way that I explain it, so I don't mind sharing the little bit that I do know. But sometimes I will be honest with you, sometimes it gets kind of annoying when a person keeps giving you the way that you should tell them how they should learn, or if you do this or if you do that, it would make it a lot easier. The thing about it, that's the problem. You're looking for ways to make everything easier instead of just doing the work. You know what I'm saying? People, Floyd, I get that all the time, man. You'll be shocked. The people who tell me how I should be teaching them how to learn. So there's anything different between 12. So I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, you'll be shocked in the people that will tell you how it is you need to teach them so they can learn. Now, don't get me wrong. I get that everybody doesn't learn the same way, and everyone has a way that they learn. But the problem comes about when you try to put your learning solely on the teacher instead of putting the work in yourself. Now, there are some teachers it's just harder to understand when they you don't want to be too easy. It should be a challenge. Well, yeah, you want some things to be easy, and yeah, the challenge of the whole situation, that's what makes you into who you are. That's how you find out how you learn. I tell this story so many times. When I was in college, I took a class called statistics. Some of y'all y'all taken it before, and I had to have that class in order to graduate school. But when I took the class, man, I failed with flying colors. Because I remember I was in one class. I told this story before. I was in one class, and I know I was about to fail this test, and everybody else had left out of the room. We had a lot of foreign exchange students, so they weren't really struggling in the class at all. My teacher didn't. His job was easy in this particular class because 80% of the room was foreign exchange students, and there you had me in there. It was like I already suck in math at that time that I thought, and so and I'm taking the test, and it's like 5 minutes before it's time to change classes. And so my teacher, he just gets up and walk around the room. He said, if you don't have it by now, you probably not gonna have it. So, so I knew at that point, just go ahead and sign my name on my paper and just turn it in. We already let's just go ahead and take that F in pride. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I was waiting for that. He did. That's what he said. He said, if you don't have it by now, you just waiting for answers to fall out of the sky. He said, so it's not gonna happen. So, well, we live to fight another day. So needless to say, I ended up dropping that class, and I took it again at another school over the summer. Now the thing about when I took it over the summer, it was the same information. And you said you was nervous. I wasn't nervous, man. I knew what was about to happen. Good morning, Thumper. Yeah, I just knew what was about to happen, man. So I just let it go. I knew with this particular teacher, he didn't really have to work as hard with showing me the material. He literally just laid it out there, put the stuff on the board. People didn't have questions. And so, naturally, if you're in school and everybody else in the class got all the answers, ain't nobody else feel like they're struggling when you're a student, when you're young, you're not going to speak up. Of course, on social media and on YouTube and everything, people are quicker to speak up because, hey, the embarrassment is gone. If I don't have no subscribers on my channel, nobody knows who I am, I can get on the internet and I can troll. I can even be mean because nobody can see me. So, we have a little bit more liberty when we're online, but when you're sitting in a classroom setting and everybody else is there, it's like you start to kind of realize if everybody else is getting this and I'm not getting this, it might not be the teacher who's at fault. Maybe I just don't understand this teacher's way of teaching. Maybe I don't understand his method of teaching. Maybe it's too advanced for me. And so I'm the one that needs to get the extra help. Truth be told, now looking back at the situation, had I had it available to me, I would have went and sought out a tutor. Soon as I seen I was having problems in the class, I would have gotten some extra help and got somebody to really help me in that subject, somebody that really knew. But yeah, hindsight is always 2020. So when I went to the other college and I took the class, the teacher, her attitude was a lot better. So me thinking in my mind, just putting stuff together, I thought for all these years it was the teacher. And it's like, no, her attitude was better. So you were a little bit more open to receive what she was talking about. And you had a few other people in the class with you who weren't foreign exchange students who didn't understand it as well. So this particular teacher took a lot more time explaining certain things because I had a classroom full of people who were like me. I was surrounded by people who were like me who didn't understand it. It didn't mean the teacher at my school in UNA didn't know what he was talking about, or it didn't mean that he wasn't a good teacher. It just means the surroundings made my learning environment different. Now, me taking the extra initiative, I could have survived in his class had I went and got the extra help that I needed. But I could have just sat there and said, man, that dude can't teach. Because that's what we do when we come on YouTube. We try to tell the teacher how the information should be shared instead of figuring out, no, what do I need to do to really, really grasp this information? What extra can I do? Instead of telling somebody, hey, you need to put this in the description and you need to add this in your videos and you need to slow this part down. No, you need to go back and watch it. You need to go back and slow it down. You need to stop it frame by frame and make sure you have what the teacher is sharing. Because at the end of the day, if they're giving you the information, it's not their responsibility to also make sure that you learn it. That's the truth being the truth of the matter. And like I said, I can talk from this subject because I had it wrong. Here we go with this little. I don't know what's going on here. Here we go with that again. This never happens until I get on YouTube Live, by the way. Yeah, but the teacher, it wouldn't have been fair to the rest of the class for him to have to stop and slow everything down for me simply because I'm not putting in the work. Because truth be told, beyond that class, and I'll get to these, the questions just popping up. Beyond that class, I can honestly say I wasn't really seeking out help for real, like really putting in 120 effort trying to make sure I'm gonna pass this class. You know, it's one of those things when I had some homework or something. I had a couple of Japanese students that were next door to me, and I would ask them from time to time to help me. But I wasn't really like, man, I got to do whatever it takes to pass this class. And that has everything to do with your success. When you have a mindset, morning, Justin, let me put a pin right there to answer some of these comments. But when you have a mindset that you're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you get the information that you need, that's when stuff will start changing for you. That's when your success and that kind of stuff starts to change. That's when certain answers start to come to you. What it said, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. It's like ask, seek, and knock. But if you're not asking, if you're not really seeking out information and you're just only giving excuses and only playing the blame game, blaming other people for your problems, you're never gonna move past whatever that problem is. All right, so let me get to a few of these comments. K Oliver, what's up, man? It's 2006. Now I'm back in love. The way you put out those groove helps a lot. Appreciate it, man. Pombar 12 says, "Hey Jermaine, I'm trying to. I'm I'm sorry about that, y'all. I'm trying to get this situated. Started doing some weird connection stuff again. There we go. Give me a second here. All right, so let's see this comment again. Hey Jermaine, I'm trying to get more into gospel. Somebody let me know that you can still hear me. Let me walk around. Move around and see if that helps anything. So I recently put a video out that talked about 10 bass greats, 10 great bass lines that literally covered 10 albums that I thought that were influential. So when you finish this video, who is that to ask that question? That was Pombar 12. Go to my channel and check out that video, 10 gospel, like literally the answer to your question. I put a video out the other day that answers that question, and it gives you like 10 gospel songs that you can pull from, and you can also check out those albums. So if you can't pull nothing from those 10 albums, I ain't gonna be able to help. But yeah, so there's, like I said, it's literally 10 songs that you can go check out that I posted the other day. And let me add, there's a part 2 coming to that video. So I don't know if I'm gonna do 10 or 15, so y'all hang tight for that. So good question. But yeah, I've already answered that in a video. All right, so hey Jermaine, do you play upright bass? Nope. So basically that's fretless. And I'm just now getting into fretless bass, so I don't play double bass. I haven't had the opportunity. I'm not saying I can't play it. I just haven't had the opportunity because I've never had a double bass. So maybe one day I might invest in and get me a double bass just to learn it. But yeah, at this moment I don't. I've picked around a couple of times on other people's bass, but not seriously. So I don't play double bass at all. All right, so morning, Justin. If I didn't say it already, I'm planning to get my first fretless. Could you help me? I play at church. Yeah, Zuala. I'm new to fretless myself, so yeah, I don't know how much help I would be to you at this point. I gotta get a little better myself before I try to help somebody. You gotta help yourself. Put your mask on first. Yeah, so I gotta get a little better before I start offering any assistance on fretless because I don't want to teach anybody anything wrong, and I'm still trying to figure it out. All right. So Floyd said, I like it, fam. Are those your top 10 faves? No, it's not my top 10 favorites. And I'm getting a lot of comments on that video on YouTube. People was like, man, how could you not include certain people in the top 10? I'm like, the video wasn't top 10. It was just 10 influential bass lines. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the top 10. I never said it was the top 10. So yeah, that's not Floyd. That's not my top 10. It's just 10 influential bass lines that, you know, songs I remember throughout my playing history. And you know, the hard part was trying to come up with those 10. After I got the ball rolling, okay, now I got like hundreds of songs I could think of, but initially coming up with those 10 was difficult because I had so many songs in my head. I was trying to narrow it down and figure out, okay, what 10 songs could I share and what 10 bass players could I highlight on this video. So yeah, you know, everybody has advice for you after the fact, after everything is done, who you should have done, who's, you know, everybody has advice. But now I got a better idea of what I'm going to do. Matter of fact, I had to call my good friend James Judon to help me put the list together of some of those songs that I came up with because I couldn't remember anything with all this modern music I have to learn. So, yep. So, all right. That's the other thing. Let's see here. I think I got everybody's comment at the moment. So yeah, guys, when it comes to your personal success, you have to be the one that's in charge of that. You have to be the one making sure that you're doing the necessary stuff to make sure that your success happens for you. Nobody else is responsible for that. So for you people who troll, because I know y'all might not be on here now, but I know eventually I'm gonna have some trollers watching the YouTube video. So for you people who troll on YouTube and try to tell everybody how they should teach, you're responsible for your learning on YouTube. Not everybody else. Not all the people that's posting videos. The people who are posting content, hopefully they don't disconnect. The people who are posting content are posting it to help. You know what I'm saying? Who is that? Morning to you. Morning to you. Love the concept. Keep the content. Keep coming. Will do. Yeah, but the people who are posting videos for you, you have to remember people who are watching and you are consuming the videos. Especially, let me say this. Especially if you're a person who doesn't support anybody, you just get online and watch everybody's video, everything everybody create, and the only support, quote unquote, that you have to offer is your negative comment. You are not a supporter. If you don't share any videos that anybody put up, you definitely don't purchase any merchandise that are on these videos. You don't go to that person's website if they have a website. You don't purchase anything from them. You add no value to them. Criticism, or I don't even know if we call it constructive, maybe destructive criticism, that's not really helping, if that's what you call helping. If you create nothing and you put nothing out, just sitting back on the internet and trolling what everybody else is doing to be of assistance or to be of some help, that's not cool. Because at the end of the day, people don't have to be nice. People don't have to share. That's what I think most people forget, because we're in this YouTube age. You feel there's an entitlement, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but there's an entitlement thing that's kind of taking place, where people feel like you have to show them. People feel like you have to give your information away. Most of us that share this information, we paid for it in some form or fashion. Some of us went to school. Some of us paid through hard knocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of us had to pay through experiences, myself included, had to pay through a lot of experiences that we had to go through, things we had to learn the hard way, getting ripped off for gigs, getting kicked off gigs, getting looked over for gigs, whatever the case may be, and having to do a lot of self-evaluation. So a lot of the information that we share for free online, it came as a result of just, some folks just plain being heartbroken. Like, man, wow, this is why I'm not getting a gig, or wow, this is why I got put off the gig, or wow, this is why this is happening, or why this is not happening. This is why people don't call me. So a lot of your top 10 reasons why you're not getting hired, whatever the title of the videos are, be careful that you don't just shoot past it and, oh yeah, that's a nice title. Because a lot of this stuff that you're hearing about, a lot of the stuff that you're finding about in these videos, people paid for this information. A lot of them, not everybody now. I'm not gonna say like everybody that's creating content has some really tragic story or something. That's not the case for everybody. Some people were just, you know, they're just doing this for a quick buck. But some of us genuinely started creating content because we wanted to help people. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it comes from. And what's up, Jermaine? This is Marvin, Northwest Florida. What's up, Marvin? What's going on, man? So Charlie G says, "Hey Jermaine, how do you know if you're a beginner player or an intermediate player?" Uh, that would be best based off your skill level of what you can actually do. Like in terms of when you're playing stuff that seems to be a little bit more advanced. Like first of all, how long have you been playing? You know what I'm saying? And length of time playing doesn't always have anything to do with it, because there's some people who've been playing for 30 years and they're still a beginner because they never moved past that beginner stage, meaning like certain fundamental things you haven't figured out how to do. You know, now I don't mean in the sense of if you don't know all your skills, if you don't know all this, you don't know all that, you're still a beginner. That I don't mean that, because there are people that I personally know who don't know scales and who don't know all the notes on the fretboard, but they know their bass, they know their tone, they know their sounds, they know how to navigate the fretboard, even though they haven't had any formal training in terms of the name of the notes, but they know numbers and all that kind of stuff. So, that's it's categories of it. It depends on who you're talking to at the end of the day. But when it comes to beginner, if you can't hold down like the basic, requirements. If, say for instance, if you got called to do a gig or a church session and the stuff is very, very, very simple. I ain't talking about advanced John P. Key or, some Chick Corea type stuff. I'm talking about it's bare minimum, like country music simple. No disrespect to country music, but it's super simple, and you're having a hard time navigating something that simple. Yeah, you're probably still on a beginner level. If you're having a hard time navigating things that are very, very, very simple, you're probably on a beginner level. Now, the intermediate level is okay. I figured I can navigate. I can get through my songs pretty good. I can get around. They send me a song, and I can learn that song. I can pick out everything in the song. For the most part, the song sounds like the album. When you're playing the song, people can recognize it. You're developing. It's like the intermediate stage is where you're developing. You've moved out of the beginner stage, and you're really, really starting to develop as a player. And the stuff you're playing is making a lot more sense, and you can hear the potential of that player being a professional, or being more advanced, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't mean you're a solo player or on your way to being a solo player or anything like that, but you've grown beyond that beginner stage, and you gotten to the place where you can hold your own for the most part. You get, like, I have my nephew, that's this man, my niece that play. And I think they're at that intermediate stage where they can kind of pick it up and they can hear a song and they can sit down and figure the song out and play the song, and it actually makes sense what they're doing and sound better to me than some bass players who play at churches and stuff like that and on gigs. But it makes sense, but that there's a lot of information that they need to know in terms of just more technical bass playing stuff, like getting a good tone, getting good hand placement, getting a good feel, because you could play the notes and you could play the song, but you don't really have good feel. So there's some other things about, that separates the intermediate from the advanced player. And a lot of times that's not always based on chops, because I think the YouTube community, with everybody being these whizzes on bass now, and everybody knowing 1,000 scales and being able to play 100 miles per hour, everybody thinks it's based on that, whether you're intermediate or advanced. Just because there are different levels to being advanced. It depends on advanced in what sense of the word. Because I can take a person who's advanced in jazz fusion, you might be advanced in that level, but I take you and put you in a gospel scenario, and you sound like a beginner. So it really depends who asked that question. Let me go back. Charlie, it really depends on the context. At the end of the day, I'm giving you a wordy answer, but I'm hoping I'm covering a lot of ground with what I'm saying. It really depends on the context of what we're talking about, because I've seen that happen a lot of times. Cats that can play all this jazz stuff, you know, and you put them in a setting, a different type of setting that's less notes, less required of them, and they bomb. I mean, go down in flames and can't keep a simple groove. But they can play solos and play you up under the table with solos, but you can't get a boom, 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 you can't get that out of them. They can't do it to save nobody. You know what I'm saying? So in that regard, in the regard to playing a groove, they are a beginner when it comes to playing groove. When it comes to playing solo, they're advanced. You know what I'm saying? So it matters the context in what you're talking about. So don't think just because you can't play all these solos and do all this extra stuff, you're not intermediate or an advanced player. In your lane, if you're playing quartet music, you can't play all these scales, but you know how to play that pocket, you know how to hold it down, you know how to do exactly what it is you know how to need to do in that particular context. In that context, you might be advanced. But in another context of playing like choir music, gospel choir music, you might be intermediate because you're not hip to that style of music. So don't always define it as, okay, I'm advanced all the way across the board, and then we throw you in a different setting and you go down in flames. Now, a well-rounded musician that's also advanced can handle any scenario. So that's when you find like your studio musicians I'll use myself for example. I had to become a well-rounded musician that I can go into multiple settings and be able to do what I got to do. Give me the time to sit with whatever it is I need to sit with. You know what I'm saying? And I go into, you know what I'm saying? Well, there you go. Charlie says, thank you. Self-taught. You say, be necessary for what you do. Playing solos might not be necessary. Now, if that's something you want to learn, that's totally up to you, but that does not define that you're not an advanced player or an intermediate player because you can't play solos. You might be a beginner when it comes to solos, but you might be an advanced pocket player because your pocket might run somebody up on the table, might run me under the table. I don't know. I haven't heard you. So don't let YouTube and social media redefine the truth. Don't let this stuff you see, don't let this hype fool you. Even some of the people that teach online, you can hear some of those people on a real gig, and it might be a little sketchy. You know, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like that ain't the groove, buddy. You know, some of y'all know when y'all hear the groove, and you know when it's not the groove, and you hearing some stuff. Now, when we get to the solo section, this person is cutting through the house, but we get on this groove that we spending the most time on, and it sounds like we struggling the whole time. So now that, you know, we got a clash of the titans right there. We got a clash of two worlds. So we got to figure out what we're defining when we're saying we're advanced and all this kind of stuff. Making sure that we're covering depending on what you're trying to do. And it's always important what you're trying to do as a bass player. If you only want to just improve your groove just for playing pocket, well, by all means, improve your groove. But if you're trying to get into like the jazz and into the soloing, or if it's not jazz, but just more instrumental playing, and you're trying to get more into the soloing, well, yeah, you need to work on your chops. You need to work on that because you can't go around calling yourself a solo player and you don't have any chops. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some chops if you're going to solo. That's the whole point. So, yeah, so it's just being able to clearly define what it is you're after as a player and not let other people define you, or not let social media, or measuring yourself up against other people. Because I made that mistake, and I've talked about it on multiple occasions. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's definitely on topic of success. And what's going to make that difference in your success is the work you put in, the amount of work you put in. When you get online and you're searching for bass lessons and that kind of stuff, know what you're looking for. Have an idea of what it is you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? And that can kind of shape the direction of where it is you're trying to go in terms of the things you're trying to grow in doing. All right, so let's see here. Look like I'm having to reconnect again. So guys, that's pretty much it. All right, I'm back. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to just jump on here this morning, do a live. I know we got kicked off several times on last week, and that was terrible for me. But I wanted to come back on here today and just share with you guys. So hopefully I've covered a lot of stuff, answered a lot of your questions. And for the ending thought for today is, remember, your success is 100% on you. If you're trying to be a professional musician, it's all on what you do with your time, how you put that work in, how you put that time in. That's going to determine how much of a success you are. I think what I need to do is unplug my modem in here and just plug it up again. I hadn't done that in a while. I hadn't done that. Yeah, that's what I need to do, is reset that modem. I think I'm gonna do that. Sorry guys, side note. But yeah, so it's totally on you guys. Whatever you're trying to do success wise, it's totally on you. It's possible to do whatever you're trying to do in music, but you got to work. It ain't gonna come to you. Nobody's gonna give it to you. All right. So when do you plan to do more groove ideas? I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly putting up groove ideas. William, see if we got anything. Y'all still got me? So I would say when I spend time focusing on just he says just still trying to learn the solo and thing, but cool. Keep watching. Yeah, I'm constantly putting up. I'm constantly putting up different things. So be sure to check my channel, man. You got to go binge watch my videos. There's a lot of content. It's a lot of content I put out, and so probably have practicing. We were talking about practicing multiple things, and that idea of practicing multiple things versus practicing one thing. Sometimes the problem you can run into when you're only working on or focusing on one thing, it can become redundant to you. And even though people say, yeah, you just got to work on one thing and master that one thing. Well, the problem in music, especially when you're learning a new instrument, when you only focus on one thing, sometimes you can lose inspiration. You can become discouraged, and you want to quit. So that's my reason, my personal reason why I say you should practice on multiple things. And in your practice, like, jam it out. Like, just say, if you were to break it up, I ask my students to try to do 2 hours a day if they can. Especially if you're in the beginner stages, you need to be doing 2 hours or more a day. Because especially if you're later in age, it's going to be that much harder for you. Not impossible, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you if you're up in age. So you have to put in more time in the early stages if you're starting to play an instrument later. Remember that success is completely 100% on you. So whereas I'm asking the average student to do 2 hours, you might need to put in 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest, just telling you like it is. If you really want to see massive success, you need to put in 3 to 4 hours a day. So if the average person is putting in 10 hours a week playing, you need to be putting in 15 to 20 hours a week if you want to see massive success, massive growth in your plan. So the way I would break down the hour would be like, I would spend the first 15 to 20 minutes on like fundamental stuff. If you're just trying to really get, the technical stuff down, like working on scales, working on speed exercises, working on finger things, finger exercises, stretching, all that kind of stuff, the fundamental stuff. And then I would spend the next 30 minutes maybe working on working out, implementing some of that stuff into what you're playing, something that you already know. and then I would maybe like spend like, you know, maybe 30 to 45 minutes transcribing a song, like doing that. I hope we good with the connection. I'm moving around, so we'll see. I'll maybe even more time transcribing a song just to make sure I'm solid, super solid on that song. So I spend that time transcribing that song. And what I mean by transcribing, just in case y'all don't know what that term means, that's generally a term associated with rewriting the song down, like writing the notation of the song, but we can also use transcribing as to say listening to the album, playing like 10 seconds of it, seeing what they did, learn that, keep going, repeating the process, rewind, play, rewind, and making sure that we got all of it down packed. Just spend time transcribing the music like that until you get it. And the more you get it in detail, it's going to make you that much stronger, because what you're doing in that particular segment of your practice will be called ear training. You're really strengthening your ear. And here's something else you guys can do when you're not physically at your instrument. When you're driving down the road, you got the seatbelt strap. This is not original. I took this from somebody, but you got the seatbelt strap that's strapped to you while you drive. And I know we got a lot of truck drivers and stuff that watch me. But when you're driving, you got your seatbelt on. Or if you're a delivery driver, whatever the case may be, that's the neck of your bass. You know what I'm saying? You can use your pick hand to pick the bottom of the seat belt, and that literally can become your base. You know what I'm saying? Like you can figure kind of where everything is, but you can use that as your fretboard and as your, you know, the little strap as your string, because it's the same motion. You're just kind of pulling up on it to get a different kind of little thing going. But that gets you in the habit of thinking about a song while you're listening to it. Granted, you got to keep one hand on the wheel, so you ain't gonna be able to do them both. Like, got to practice and alternate hands. But my thing is, it gives you an idea of getting those fingers to moving. So you can have one hand on the wheel, and with that seatbelt on, you can be moving those fingers. You can be practicing moving those fingers. So that's another way you can do it. So it can be structured, but spend the end of your practice jamming out on something. However you land, try to spend the end of your practice jamming out to something fun, having fun at the end of each time, because you want to leave each time feeling like you've accomplished something, or at least you've had a great time doing it. Try to implement some of those things that you worked on in the early part of your day. Try to implement some of them in a jam. Like find one of the backing tracks that I posted, one of your favorite backing tracks, or put your favorite song on, even if you don't know it that well. Just jam out to it and have a good time. Because the thing about the music, I steal Victor Wooten's quote all the time: we're supposed to play music. Meaning we're supposed to have fun with it. It shouldn't be work. When it starts feeling like work, that means it won't be long. You're going to completely lose interest and you won't practice. The more you're uninterested, the less you're inspired. Remember that. The more you're uninterested, the less you are inspired. And they go hand in hand. If you're not interested, you are not inspired. You will not create. You will not practice. You will put that instrument down and you won't pick it up until you have to pick it up, because you're not inspired to do so. So you have to keep your interest up. You have to enjoy what it is you're doing. You have to enjoy it. If you lose the enjoyment for it, because it's hard. I ain't gonna tell y'all no stories. It's hard. Playing the bass, playing music in general. I play multiple instruments, and all of them are hard. I think the one that I have the most fun, get this point. What's up, man? Good day from Australia. Jojo, thank you, man. No problem. Jermaine ain't never lied. Practice makes perfect. So I will say this. I have the most fun playing the drums. And I think the reason why I have the most fun playing the drums, there is absolutely no demand on me to play the drums. Most people don't even know I can actually play drums. So when I get on there, I'm like a kid. There's no expectation. I don't gotta prove nothing. I can just sit down and have a great time and play as much as I would. This is my my drum kit right over here. If y'all didn't see it earlier, flip my. I tried to I tried to show y'all the drum set and got kicked off. So yeah, that's my drum set. So I get it in right there all the time. And when I play drums, I think I have the most fun. But again, because there's no demand, there's no expectation. I don't have to, live up to this expectation. And we all do it in our minds. Once people know you can do something, it's like you have that expectation every single time that you have to deliver. So if you're not careful, if you get caught up in that hype, it can create anxiety for you. It can create nervousness for you because you don't want to mess up. Most of us are naturally perfectionists. But that requirement is not, you said, I live in a small New York City apartment. Having a drum kit is a pipe dream. I get it, man. I'm not telling everybody to go out and get a drum set. I'm just making a point with that. When I'm talking about the drum set, I can go back to that kid-like state of just having fun. Because even if I play, and just say I've done gigs with my band or at different places, and I jump on the drum set if I'm trying to show somebody an idea, or if we're just goofing off or after the gig or after church or after something like that, and I goof off and just play the drums during sound check or after whatever, it doesn't matter what I do. When it's that particular instrument, anything I do on there, if I do something sweet, that's counted to me as, oh man, he can play drums. As opposed to me being a drummer and having a bad day on drums, it's going to be bad. I can get on drums and have a bad day as a bass player. Nobody cares because I'm not supposed to be playing drums anyway. So I can get away with a lot. So that means it takes my level of anxiety down when I'm playing the drums. There's no requirement. I don't have to be good. And I can actually play, but I don't have to be good on drums. The same thing when it comes to keyboards, but I think for me, because I've played the keyboard professionally, I played the guitar professionally, and I played the bass professionally, there's a level of anxiety that I feel like, okay, I have to perform at a certain level because I've done it professionally for a while, for an extended amount of time. So there's that, there's that level of anxiety that comes that you don't want to mess up. So when you have that anxiety and you don't relax, you tend to tense up and not fully enjoy the moment. My best playing is probably when no cameras are on, I'm sitting back here in this room, nobody is here. Or when I'm somewhere and there's nobody around because I'm free to make my mistakes. And the best thing that I've learned how to tap into on stage is ignore the people. Just a little word of wisdom for y'all. If you want to play your best, learn how and do. I got to be careful how I say this because some of y'all will take that literal and y'all won't pay no attention to nothing and nobody. I don't mean literally ignore the people. I ain't listening to you, music director or a choir director. I ain't listening to nothing you saying because I'm finna have the time of my. I don't mean that. That's not what I mean. But if you can figure out the way when you're playing to tune them out, you're aware that there's people there, especially if you're an artist. You have to bring people on that journey, so you have to engage. But at the same time, while you're engaging, you don't have to be so consumed with trying to perform for the people that you don't enjoy yourself. You have to figure out a way to block out the people while you bring them on the journey. It's almost like this. If I'm, play with your heart for sure. But you ever notice some of your best players, they seem like they just kind of zone out? Like, think about watching BB. When BB would go into a solo, BB King, when he would go into a solo, it's kind of like he would go into his own little world, and you just watch him and watch what he's playing and watch his solo, and you just sit there amazed at the stuff that he's doing. And it's like when he was playing, it was like at that moment, it didn't seem like nobody was in the room but him. And that's that kind of mindset you want to have, that this is just me. And for my more spiritual people that's on here, it ain't going to the people, it's going to God. You know what I'm saying? So it's vertical. It's not horizontal. It's vertical. It's going straight up. It's just me and him. I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying this gift that he gave me. I'm enjoying this opportunity that I get to do this. I could be paralyzed. I could be out of my mind right now, but I get to do this with this instrument. He allowed me to be able to. So I'm going to give everything I got to him. And if you want to come along for the ride, you're more than welcome. But at the same time, you're not going to stop me. So being able to take that mindset while we're still being aware of everything that's going on, because the more you know the music, going back to your successes on you, the more you know the music, the more you know your part, the more you know what you're supposed to do, the easier that is for you. The easier that is for you to execute. And you're not struggling, because if you're struggling through the songs because you don't know the songs, then it's going to be really, really hard to tap into that for you. It's going to be really, really hard to really dig in and go into your own space because you're in your own head. You don't know the music. You're in your own head. You ain't gonna be able to have no good time. You gotta watch everything everybody doing. You definitely watching the MD like a hawk because you don't know what's coming next. And granted, there's a time and a place for that. Going into your own space. If you're in a song that really requires for you to be really alert and watching everybody, like, you know, we have those songs that the choir do, and it's like they got, or, you know, whatever gig you're on, they got a lot of hits, they got a lot of spontaneous stuff happening. Well, you got to be alert. You got to be aware. That's probably going to be a tenseful situation, and ain't going to be much you can do to get away from around it. You got to watch. It is what it is. But in situations where you know it's laid back, you know the music, you kind of know the format, you know the structure, especially if you're taking a solo, go to your own space. Get out of your own head. And the more you can practice doing that in your private time, the better you can do it when you're in public. The more you know your part, the less anxiety you have. Yeah. And sometimes anxiety can come from other areas. What Michael Brandon says, you're absolutely right. You had to hunt down people to show you things back in the day. Some older heads wouldn't even teach or show you anything. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, man. So sometimes your anxiety can come from other areas. You can know the music, and somebody that has a bad attitude is in the room with you. That can create anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who don't know the music after you to learn the music, that can create anxiety. You spend all this time learning the music, and I know a lot of people. I've done clinics, and that's like one of the main issues of a lot of musicians, especially bass players, playing in places where the keyboard player or the organ player is playing in their register. They're playing in their register. They get irritated and get anxiety about that situation. Yeah, those things. But if you can figure out ways to start getting around those little trifling things that rob you of enjoying the moment, then you're going to have a lot better time playing. Because the thing about most of those situations are temporary. I know from firsthand experience, a lot of those situations are temporary. Even if it's a gig that you're playing, that's a main gig, it's temporary. So if you can figure out how to navigate that, how to get around that, then you can know how to operate in other situations. Because they're gonna come other situations where ain't nobody in your register and it's all on you. And you better not drop the ball. Dude, we gonna lose the game. I've had those situations, and in a situation like that, you kind of wish you had somebody playing your register just so you can have a guide. So appreciate it on every level, whatever level you're on. Appreciate where you are. That's the key to it, guys. Appreciating where you are, no matter what level of musicianship you are on. Being able to appreciate where you are and fully enjoy the moment of where you are. I will say there are times I drop the ball in that area, but for the most part, when I kind of recap my life and my life as a musician, for the most part, I will say about 75% of the time, I can honestly say I was enjoying the moment when it comes to my music stuff. Now, the times that I didn't enjoy the moment was when I felt like the weakest link on the team. And that was due to a lack of confidence. It wasn't a lack of ability. Most of the time it was a lack of confidence because I felt intimidated. Those times that I allowed intimidation to rob me of the experience, I didn't enjoy it because I was too busy being intimidated, too busy thinking everybody was better than me, too busy thinking I couldn't play, as you know, all this stuff. I allowed it to rob me of the moment. But if you can find a way to enjoy every single moment that you have the opportunity to do, remember, guys, if you can play music, it's a gift. No matter what level you're on, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, if you can play music, it's a gift. And you shouldn't take it lightly because everybody can't do it. Opportunity, um, the opportunity to play is as much a gift as the act of playing. Yeah, yeah. You get, don't get it twisted, because I know a lot of musicians get the big head, and this ain't just only young musicians. I know some older cats that are very still act like kids in the regard of acting like they done everything themselves. Remember, you get to do this. You get to do this. If you think I'm playing, show up at a hospital. Go to a hospice. Go to a hospice area and put a bass or put a guitar in some of those people's hands that's in that hospice. You'll find out real quick, or go to somewhere, a rehabilitation center or something like that, where you see people who can't walk on their own, people who are needing assistance with this and needing assistance with that, people who have strokes and all this kind of stuff. You get to do this. Nobody owes you anything. you get to do this. This is a gift. All of this stuff, even something as simple as walking. Something I'll share this last thing with y'all. Most of y'all don't know this, but when I was 6 years old, I had a lawnmower accident. That completely it cut off my left heel. I'm getting a lot of notifications all of a sudden. It completely cut off my left heel of my foot. And so because of that, I was in the hospital. This is at 6 years old. I was in the hospital a lot. Went through, my mom confirmed it was, over the years, it was like about 70 surgeries. I didn't know. I thought it was like, I knew it was 50 plus. I didn't know it was 70. But yeah, so I went through that. And as a result of that, my life changed dramatically. I'm in the hospital and in a wheelchair, not being able to stand up and on crutches for a long time, wearing AFO braces and stuff like that. And just even to this day, I still experience issues with my foot as a result of that. So being in that situation, being in that scenario, knowing what it's like to be in a wheelchair and you can't get out of it. You can get out of it, but like, because there was a time I had one of my last surgeries. I had surgeries on both of my legs. I had a growth bone added, and then I had something done to my knee. So I couldn't do anything. I had to have people to lift me up, and this was like when I was in 8th grade or something like that. But I'm literally having to have people to lift me up. Only thing I could use was my arms and my upper body. So having that realization of it's a privilege that you get to walk. Some of y'all don't think about that. And I hope the right person watches this video. I didn't mean to go here, but it's still on topic. Some of y'all think it's you that's doing all of this stuff. Let me tell you something. It's God's grace that allows you to keep going. It's God's grace. Lest you get the big head, lest you start thinking it's all about you because you got a little better. You know it all, whatever you believe. I don't care. But don't get the big head for 1 minute and think it's all about you, because it's not. It's a gift that you can get out of the bed, put one foot in front of the other each morning. It's a gift that you have sense enough to get on your phone and even press the button to put you live here, put you on this live broadcast. And you can see it. It's a gift. We so easily look over the simple things of life thinking that it's something we done. Put a clock out in the graveyard. Put an alarm clock out in the graveyard. Set it for whatever time you want to set it for. It doesn't matter. Sit it out in the graveyard. If everybody is doing this themselves, set an alarm clock in the graveyard and see what happens. See how many people get up. So let's not for a minute think this is about us, or think we are the reason why we're so good. Your success is on you, meaning that you have to do the work with the energy, with the abilities that you've been given. It's a gift, but you have to hone your own skills. You have to work it and do it yourself, but don't be foolish enough to take all the credit and think you did it all. Just because you did it, just because you honed the skills, don't mean you're responsible for it all. Because I know plenty of people who have a passion for this thing, but they can't play at all. They can't do none of it. I'm talking about they don't have the timing to save your life or mine. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that You put in the work and you actually get to see results. There are people who try for years to walk and they've been paralyzed all their life and they can't do it. They keep trying and they can't do it. They keep trying and they can't do it. They try to strengthen themselves. They try to work out those muscles and they can't do it. So the fact that you get results when you put in the work is still a gift. So don't get it twisted and take all the credit for yourself into thinking that you're the one that's behind it. I ain't no fool. I know I'm not the one behind my success. All glory goes to God for it all. Lest any man should boast about anything that he's done. So just want to leave y'all with that thought. Again, I'm sure a lot of y'all didn't know that about me. If you want to find out more about my story, go to jermainemorgan.net, and when you click the tab about me page, there's a thing called the speaker on there. Click on the speaker. You can learn a little bit more about my story, what it is I'm doing and that kind of stuff, and just find out a little bit. You know, Charlie said some people are tone deaf. That's what I'm saying. Being able to hear in key is a gift. Being able to have timing is a gift. It's all a gift, y'all. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all. And if you found this message helpful and you know somebody that needs to hear this, please share this with somebody. I only get on here to share because I know that it could be beneficial to somebody else. I know this information could be beneficial to somebody else. One of my main goals in life is to motivate, encourage, and inspire, and remind you you ain't here by yourself. You know what I'm saying? God's grace is underestimated in today's time. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely underestimated but we know what it is. We know what it is. And again, thank y'all for hanging out with me this long. For the people who gave the thumbs up, thank you so much. That helps this video to be found by more people. It helps with the Google Analytics and YouTube algorithm and all that kind of stuff. The more likes, more thumbs up, the more engagement, the more comments, the more all this stuff I get, the better it ranks. So all of that stuff is greatly appreciated when y'all share and y'all give the likes and all that kind of stuff, because it helps my channel to be found by more people just like you. And I see y'all doing the likes. I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me. And so, in many times as you want to like it, I ain't mad at it. It really, really helps my videos. So if you want to go on a binge and watch all the rest of the stuff, I encourage you to do that. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope at the end of the day, something that I say is beyond my playing, something that I say, something that I do, the way I live my life inspires you to do better. Not just play better, but it inspires you to do better. I'll use Victor Wooten's quote again. Well, he said, not his quote, his mom. He said, "The world doesn't need another good bass player." I agree. The world doesn't need another good bass player. I mean, look on social media. We got enough. Look on Instagram. I mean, look on Facebook. Look on YouTube. There's enough great musicians. I'm just one of thousands of great musicians. So the world has enough great musicians. It's like, what value can we add to the world while we're here? What value can we add to other people while we're here? That's the thing that's gonna make a difference in that dash from the day you was born to the day you died. That value that you add. Because I don't want them to just put great musician on my tombstone. Nah, that ain't gonna cut it. Y'all gonna have to get me like a monument. Like I you know what I'm saying? I want you to have to figure out a better way to mark my grave site, because I've done so much that a headstone ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that I'm talking about. We sure enough need more good people though. Yeah, we definitely need more good people. We definitely need more good people. So yeah, I'm gonna jump off because I got some other stuff I gotta get into today. But I just want to share that with you, and I hope I put some on your mind. I hope that I really put some on your mind to think about if you were struggling and thinking it was all about you, or maybe that's not your struggle. Maybe it's the reverse. It's not a pumped up or just real arrogant, it's all about me. Maybe it's the reverse of that, where you're intimidated and you feel worthless because the lack thereof. You think you're not good enough and all this kind of stuff. Nah, don't believe that. I struggle with that too. Don't believe that That's a lie. That's false evidence appearing real. That's fear. The only reason you feel like you're not good enough is fear. Fear makes you feel certain things that are not real. Fear. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I suck. I feel like this. I feel like that. Step away from yourself. Step back up. Like this is your mirror. You need to do this. You need to back way away from the mirror so that you can see the real picture of who you are and the value that you add to other people. When you can see the value that you add to other people, you know your real worth, and you don't measure it based on how you play, because you know that changes. I have good days and I have bad days. Some days I can get on here and I can blow my own mind with my plan, and there's other days I'm like, dude, what in the world? So it's like, you got to back up from the picture sometimes, because you can get too focused on that blemish that you don't see the beautiful painting that's before you. It's bigger than what y'all see. So you got to do this. You got to look at everything. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, when you do this, you only see you. I'm filling up this whole screen right now because I'm important. But when I do this, I get smaller, and I start, if I could really pull this camera back, you would really see the full spectrum of everything. And that's how we have to do in life, so that we can really see where we fit in. Not that we're so small that we're insignificant. No, I'm here in this space for a reason, to make a difference. So if this room is messy and I'm in this space, well, it's my responsibility to make sure that I leave it better than I found it. So I'll leave y'all with that, and I'll stop talking. Leave spaces that you're in, leave them better than how you found it. Leave it better than how you found it. And ultimately, the success of that is determined by you. I appreciate you guys for joining me today. I'm gonna jump off, and thank y'all for hanging with me. Share this video, and if you want more content from me, be sure to hit the subscribe button. You want more lessons and that kind of stuff from me, you want to talk to me one-on-one, I have coaching calls. We can do those talks as well. JermaineMorgan.net. Check it out. All of my information is there. Look forward to speaking with you guys soon. I'm out. Blessings to you all. Peace.